Well, we want to get to some top headlines. Yesterday on Capitol Hill, Epstein survivors were speaking out publicly, many for the first time. Lawmakers from both parties held a joint presser, including Representative Thomas Massie and Representative Marjorie Greene. It comes after House Republicans released 33,000 documents on Epstein. Democrats call it a distraction, but the victims say they want transparency, not politics. Does this move help or hurt Trump, or is that missing the point entirely? For that question, let's welcome to American Sunrise Republican strategist and the host of the 13-minute news hour, Bobby Eberle. Bobby, so great to have you in studio with us today. Want to get your reaction to the presser yesterday.
Thanks, Emily. Yeah, I thought the press conference was incredible. I've been pushing for this for a long time. Anything that you can do to get justice for these victims and to find out who is behind this massive trafficking scheme, that's what we should be doing. Now, the Oversight Committee is doing a great job. They're doing their thing. But, you know, how many times have we seen oversight investigations from Benghazi to Hillary Clinton to Hunter Biden crime family, and nothing's come of it? Absolutely nothing has come of it. So to get this into some congressional members that are very motivated and very focused, and to get the victims to actually have a voice. I always talk about being the voice for the victims. Well, these victims are speaking out for themselves, which I think is phenomenal. So let's keep it going. And I hope, you know, to answer your question on the lead-in, you know, that Trump is truly on board with this. It's not a hoax. It's for real. And it's one of the galvanizing points of the movement as far as getting rid of the deep state and looking for accountability and transparency and more power to this movement for sure.
Bobby, you used the word galvanizing, bringing people together. It seems to me that the Republican Party would be more galvanized, would be more united behind this, but the reality is it's not. How do you explain that away?
You know what? I think I hate to say this, but I think it's criticism from the top. I really think that this is a galvanizing movement or issue for the movement. And, you know, we talked about it. One of the first things in the first month, you know, was this meeting with phase one of the Epstein files, the binders, and people were saying, hey, okay, that's phase one. You don't label it that unless there's a phase two and phase three, and you keep going forward. So people are expecting real results from a new DOJ, a new FBI, and just this new attitude in town. So I think if we just get the leadership and from the top all the way in the administration to get on board with this, and come what may, as far as whose names are released or where this goes, that's what is owed the American people.
You know, we do straight talk here, so let's go to straight talk. You said leadership at the top. We're talking about President Trump. If President Trump had said, let's get this done, kind of like the one big beautiful bill, and he got it by July 4th. If he said on this situation, let's get this done, you know you would have dozens and dozens and dozens, and dozens of Republicans saying, absolutely, let's get this done. Instead, he's kind of quashing it.
Yeah, and then it's really tough because on the Ro Khanna and Massie side of it, as they're pushing this resolution, this bill, you know, they need support. They need Republican support. And to your point, David, if President Trump would come out and say, yes, we ran on this because they did. This was an issue as far as accountability and transparency. We need to get this done. And we need to get this done in 2 weeks. As far as a step-by-step release of information, they could get it done. There's no doubt in my mind. Instead, we're calling it a hoax. Instead, hey, let's, you know, taking time in media interviews to say, let's move on. Why are people fixated on this? It doesn't sit well. And one thing we've learned is that the MAGA movement, it's not a cult. We're committed to America First agenda, and we'll speak out. And this is one that has really gotten people to speak out.
I just want to quickly say, Emily, I know we'd have to move on, but thank you for saying that it's not a cult, because, of course, the Democrats and the media think it is. And this is a great example. Exhibit A as to it's not a cult. Look, people are going to speak out about this. If Trump feels differently, he feels differently. So what? It's not a cult. We're not following Trump. We're following principle here.
That's
Emily,
right.
Please, go ahead.
We do want to move on to some more headlines here. Bobby, President Trump taking to Truth Social to put pressure on Hamas. Trump was writing, quote, tell Hamas to immediately give back all 20 hostages. Not 2 or 5 or 7, and things will change rapidly. It will end. Want to get your reaction to this as well, Bobby?
Well, this one is something that, from the very beginning, the hostages were taken, and, we had the Biden administration in place with the Trump administration. Let's sit down, let's get the hostages back before we do anything else. But, it comes to the question that is raised, do they want to stop? I mean, what is the end goal, obviously, or actually for Israel? Is it the hostages? If it is, I hope so, because the killing needs to stop. And I believe that if the president, again, comparing it to the other issue, if the president puts some force here and says, we need to sit down, we need to get these hostages back before we do any other negotiation on what the future of Gaza is, if there's relocation, what's happening to the Palestinians, all of that hinges on this. The president has shown his force both on foreign policy and domestic policy. Let's get this done.
To your point, it seems like this needs to be kind of the posture, if you will, on all of the critical foreign policy issues, be it Russia, Ukraine, be it China. Draw a line in the sand and say, look, it's time to put up or shut up.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And we've seen that. We've seen the force of these bilateral, trilateral meetings when the president steps forward. The European Union can say all it wants. Other countries can say what they want. Israel can say what it wants. But it's not until the American people, the American public, through the Trump administration, steps forward and says, we will lead, we will get this done. America first advances by having peace in the Middle East and peace with Russia, Ukraine. So let's get it done. If he keeps his foot on the gas here, I think we can see some movement.
By the way, Bobby, what do you think of what's going on with this supposed plan to reinvent the Gaza Strip into like the Riviera of the Middle East? That seems dicey. I understand that America wouldn't necessarily spend any taxpayer dollars on this, but if they're going to have some ownership in some sort of corporation, I don't know. I'm a little wary of that.
Yeah, well, I've got to fall on your side on this as far as being dicey, because again, it calls into question motivations from the very beginning. Like, do you want the hostages back, or did you just want to clear out Gaza to make it the next Las Vegas or the next Dubai? And with this kind of talk, it's like I'd rather make sure that the Palestinians are taken care of, that Hamas is destroyed, that the hostages are returned. Those steps, get those done. And put America first, and then we'll see what we can do to bring stability to the Middle East.
Yeah, Bobby Eberle, great to have you with us.
Thanks,
right
David.
there in West Palm. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends. Share it. Spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.